Dead Over Diamonds is the second of three Picture Perfect Mysteries films from Hallmark, and when I discussed the first film, which I watched yesterday, I said that I generally enjoyed it and was looking forward to the other two. Having now watched this one, I'm kind of glad there are only three films. I will watch the next one. I wouldn't say this was a bad film as such, but it was kind of boring. The focus wasn't in the right place, and one of the characters I really do not like. This was released in 2020. It's directed by Ron Oliver and written by Marcy, Holland, and Walter Klenhard, and it stars Alexa PenaVega as the photographer Allie and Carlos PenaVega as the police officer Sam. And it mostly focuses on a stolen necklace. Allie is at this art gallery shooting various objects when this really expensive necklace goes missing from the gallery. I was curious to find out how a photographer would end up in so many crime situations, unless she was, of course, a crime photographer, which would have made a little bit more sense. But that's not the route they decided to go down. And I can see her being there. It makes sense. There is logic for her being involved in this crime. Well, not involved in this crime, but in the right place at the right time from the beginning, which then leads her, of course, to interacting with Sam again, and I do not like him. I think Sam is a very badly written character. The performance, absolutely fine. The performances throughout the film from all of the cast, no problems. But Sam is so unprofessional and so unbelievable. I think he is a terribly written character, and I feel like if this had been a longer series, even if the narratives were great, unless his character changed, I might not be able to persist, because I really do not like him. I will, of course, go into the third film with an open mind, and maybe I will like him, maybe his character will be written better in the third film, but absolutely not with this second film, even worse than the first film. So that's a bit unfortunate. I don't mind Allie and Sam as a pairing, but they don't necessarily have the most interesting interactions. So I don't dislike them as a pairing. I just don't think they work very well. They're not a dynamic duo. I really don't care that much, but they're fine. The narrative is really boring. The stolen necklace is so dull. I do not care. The suspects are tremendously boring, and I didn't really have any interest in any of them. There was one character who I did find interesting, and something was revealed about this character, and I will, with a spoiler warning, tell you which character it is, just as a point of interest. There was a good bit in the narrative that I didn't see coming that I thought was pretty well done, but for the most part, everything flows well enough. It makes sense. I can't say that it's full of plot holes or anything like that. That's not the case. But it's just so bland. And we do have, this is information that's on IMDb, so it's not a spoiler. We do have a death. I won't say who it is or how it happens, but they kind of just forgot about it. Not completely, it did get mentioned, but they were so focused so much on who stole the necklace and looking at that as the crime scene and trying to establish motive for that they never really spend a lot of time focusing on the death, and that would have been significantly more interesting. I don't care that an expensive necklace has been stolen from somebody who's got more money than sense. I don't think it should happen. I'm not saying it's justified, but I'm not interested. I don't care. The dead body, yeah, I'm interested in that. So why aren't we able to focus on that? That's so much more fascinating. And that can't just be me. I can't be the only person who thinks that when it comes to a crime film or a mystery film, a dead body is significantly more suspenseful than a missing expensive necklace that's taken from an art gallery. I genuinely do not care about that part of the narrative. So if they'd shifted the focus, or if it was a bit more balanced, it would have been a little bit better, even if the suspects are not that interesting. But honestly, I didn't care. As I said, it's not so much that it's a bad narrative. Well, I do think the balance of where they're focusing is bad, but by that I mean everything makes sense. When something is revealed, I'm not scratching my head going, how did you get to that conclusion? It makes sense well enough, but it's just boring. So it's not bad specifically, is just not good. And then you throw in the character of Sam, who is really, really unlikable, then it doesn't really have that much to offer. Yes, I was still curious enough to find out what happened, and when we found out what happened, I thought, yeah, I'm personally relatively satisfied with the outcome because, to be fair, there's nothing worse than a mystery when you get to the end and you're just deflated because it wasn't a satisfying conclusion or there were loose threads and things like that. That's not the case here. So, again, it's not a bad narrative, it's not a bad ending, it's just not good. So, would I recommend it? If you've watched the first film and liked it, of course, I'd say give it a go. But honestly, as I said at the beginning, I'm really pleased there are only 3 films in the series because if this is anything to go by, it's not looking good. The first film was okay. I was genuinely excited for the second film, for this film. And now that I've watched it, I'm not that excited for the third film. I'm curious. I want to see what the narrative is like. And I will go in with an open mind. I won't start watching it thinking it's going to be terrible because the first film was okay. This could be a weak link. Maybe the third one is amazing. I'm not expecting that, but I will allow it the chance to prove me wrong there. But if you saw the first film and you didn't care, I'd say don't watch this because it's definitely weaker. I will discuss whether or not I recommend the third film when I get there, which I'll probably watch tomorrow just to get it over and done with. And if I love it, fantastic. Let's hope I do. But for now, I'm not hopeful. Dead Over Diamonds had potential if they'd shifted the focus and if Sam had been a better written character and the suspect had been more interesting. Oh, but I said I was going to mention that one bit that I did like. I will mention that in a moment. Very briefly, Picture Perfect Mysteries, Dead Over Diamonds is not a good film. But the good moment, and this is a spoiler, I'm not going to tell you who done it or anything, but it is a spoiler for something that's revealed and something that I didn't see coming. And it's the reveal of who Mr. White is. He's a character played by Russell Roberts, and when we find out what his role in this was, I thought that was pretty fascinating, pretty unexpected. I liked that well enough. And it's not enough to save the film, but it put a little smile on my face because I thought, yeah, that was pretty cool. I didn't see that coming. And that's something, a nice lead for them to go on that I actually kind of care about. Not tremendously, but enough that I wanted to mention it here. Credit where it's due. That aside, Picture Perfect Mysteries, Dead Over Diamonds is not a good film. It could have been interesting, but unfortunately, it really wasn't.